Okay, people gradually come in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Welcome to the GFRAS JICA SHEP webinar. We are welcoming participants into the room, so we give you a couple of minutes for people to come in before we start today's program. So we are just giving time for people to join, and we begin in a couple minutes. Thank you. In the meantime, I'll leave it here on the screen, today's program, which is what we will look at and discuss today. It is exactly 10 o'clock Swiss time, so I will pass the word to Hlami, Dr. Hlami Ngwenya, who is going to be our moderator for today. So she can walk us through the day and begin today's session. As always, we are recording the session and it will be made available afterwards so people can catch up on what was discussed. We still have some people joining in, but in the interest to honor the ones that are here on time, we would also like to begin on time. So welcome and thank you, Dr. Hlami. I leave the word to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ingrid. Maybe let's go back to the program so that we can take people through. My name is Hlami Ngwenya. I'm actually joining all the way from Zambia, but I'm based in Pretoria, in Cape Town in South Africa. Thank you so much for joining the event. I just want to take you through what the 2.5 hours are going to look like. You can see we have the program in front of you. The name of the event is actually Rolling Out SHEP Approach and Knowledge Sharing. We are expecting participants from Africa and Asia regions. So the 2 hours structured in this way. We have the first session, which is the setting the scene. That is where we will do the introductions and we get to know each other. We give a brief background on extension, the new extension learning kit and the SHEP program. Then we will also get to know a lot about the SHEP program, where we're going to have that presentation, but we're also going to demonstrate how SHEP online looks like. And we take a very short break. When we come back, we are going to hear from people who have already used SHEP in the different countries, but also the people who have been trained as SHEP master trainers. And then the last part of the session, we're going to get more information about how the new SHEP program is going to be rolled out, in terms of trainings and what opportunities exist for you to actually participate. On that note, just fasten your safety belts, and we are, flying together. I'm going to call upon, the GFRAS Executive Secretary, Dr. Carl Lassen, to really, give us, the introductions, but also tell us the reason why we are here. Over to you, Carl.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hlami. And welcome everybody also from my side. We are really thrilled that running this webinar today and seeing that people are connecting from different parts of the world. So we are really happy to have you here. Welcome, everybody. This is a collaboration between what is called the Global Forum for Rural Advisory Service, GFRAS and JICA. And this is the second time that we are running this webinar. And we are really happy to work with JICA on the smallholder horticulture empowerment and promotion concept that has been developed by JICA in Kenya originally, and now is being promoted in many, many countries. And one of the reasons why we are happy to work with the so-called SHEP approach is that it is a proven concept. It has clearly shown that when introduced in smallholder communities, it has a direct impact on positive impact on people's livelihood. So this is a very important tool that can be used by the extension system throughout the world. And we are very thrilled to work with JICA in promoting this. I know that the Japanese government has a aim that at least 1 million smallholder farmers should be introduced to and adopt the SHEP approach. So this is part of this joint effort to promote and strengthen the use of the SHEP approach globally. And we are very thrilled that you have an interest in this. And we are looking very much forward for you to be introduced to this. And as was mentioned previously, we have a online training module for this. So if you, from this introductory webinar, find this something very relevant to you, we strongly encourage you to go to the webinar, go to the online learning module and work on it in your own good time. We have a long program, so I will not take more time. I just want to thank JICA for this very good collaboration, and I wish you all a fruitful webinar. Thank you very much indeed. Over to you, moderator.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carl, for that introductory remarks. Now we want to see who is actually represented here. So to all our participants, we are going to, I'll ask you to take your mobile phone or maybe on your computer. You go to mentimeter.com if you are able to do that. Mentimeter.com. When it asks you to enter a code, you're going to enter this code. It's 1475269. So you go to mentimeter.com. When it asks you to enter a code, you enter this code 1475269. So I'll give you a short moment, to actually do that. So you go there and then find, that code. You'll see there are a few questions that we are asking. We want to know where you are joining from, so you can be able to use that Mentimeter to indicate. There are maybe like 3 questions that we'll be asking. So I'll also be doing that and doing my Mentimeter.com, from my phone. Let's see. You don't go to sign up. It will tell you enter a code, then you can just use the code. Let me see, it's one form. Okay. The code is gonna come back again. Ingrid, maybe then let's launch the Mentimeter because that code is also written there. Okay. Okay, some people also got it. Okay, so we're gonna launch, okay, there we go. So that is the code. So it's 7. So the code is 1475 2692. I'm actually joining. Okay, let me see which country you're joining from. Okay, I'm in Zambia. Okay. Okay. So we can see now. Let's wait. I think we need to get, people from our participants. Those who are just joining us for now. Oh, I can see. So you go to Mentimeter on your phone and you're going to get a code. The code is 147526992. Okay, we can see Bhutan, Japan, South Africa, Malawi, Gambia, Mongolia, we have Zambia represented, we have Kenya, another Malawi. Okay, we only have 14 people that have sent the code. Let's wait a little bit longer. Those of you who are just joining, we want to see where you are joining us from. So we ask you to go to Mentimeter. Nigeria, people are actually getting it there. Namibia is represented. Thank you so much. Yeah, we need more people to join in. 18, okay. Let me just say this one more time. Those of you who are just joining, go to Mentimeter on your mobile phone. You go to Mentimeter, and it will ask you to enter a code. The code that you should enter is 147526992. When you get there, you'll see it's gonna ask you, some questions. Which country are you attending this webinar from? So you just write the name of the country that you are attending from. Okay. I'm sure maybe some other people will still do that. Okay, we see South Africa, Malawi, Japan, Nigeria, Kenya is represented, the Gambia. Thank you so much. Okay, okay, maybe then let's go to the next question. I think maybe Ingrid, we can, join this. Okay, so the next question here, we want to know what measure expertise do you have? If you have extension, you're gonna click whatever expertise that you have. We can see that. Okay, so you can only choose one expertise. We also have others. We have, extension is heavily represented. We see, agriculture education. Okay, agriculture research. We have private sector. We have, NGO represented here. Ingrid, maybe what we will do, maybe just before, maybe after the break, we might launch, the Mentimeter again, especially for people who will not have, done it yet. But yes. Thank you so much. Can see, so a lot of people are in the extension space. We have, others. Thank you so much. So let's go to the next question. So this is the last question that, we want you to tell us about the new extension approach. We want to know if you have used, the SHEP approach before or not. Okay, somebody has used the SHEP. Okay. Okay. Okay, and I think maybe this is either or, maybe I should have made it in such a way that people will have, multiple responses, but it's okay. I know about NELC. So we have a number of people that have used SHEP before. People know about NELC, and people have used, some of the NELC modules. Okay. 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 Thank you so much, Ingrid, for that. Maybe then before we go, we can actually launch it again for people that might be joining anew. thank you so much. It does give us a sense, of people who know NELC, and some people have used the SHEP module. Okay, so now we are just continuing. I'll just pick, from this exercise, just to give you a very short, overview of NELC. Ingrid, maybe we could go to the next slide. We'll put it on the slideshow. Okay, maybe this is very quick, just to remind you, and I see a lot of people know about NELC. This NELC development, it's something that we started with it, from 2012. There are different, milestones that we have passed. By 2018, we launched, all, the NELC modules. Maybe we go to the next slide. Just to give you a very brief sense. So the NELC modules are divided into 3. We have what we call, just the training package. We also have the NELC that is looking at the thematic areas. We also have NELC technical. I'll take you through. So with NELC, we have about 13 modules that are just NELC. We have 7 modules that are more looking at, different thematic areas. We have 2 that is NELC, technical. Next slide. So maybe just to give you a brief, NELC, what we call the NELC, training package, these are just modules that are more relevant, for individual extension workers, and really, bringing, up to speed in terms of, some of the new things that we are confronted with within, our space of, operation. But now the NELC technical or thematic areas here, we are looking at, certain thematic areas within the agricultural, development that we are working in. And NELC technical is really focusing on, some, technical skills in one way or another. Okay, next slide. So this one is just giving you a sense of, some of the modules that we have under the NELC training package. We have introduction to the new extensionists, extension approaches and tools, agriculture extension program management, professional ethics, adult education for behavioral change, basic knowledge management for RAS, introduction to facilitation for development. We have community mobilization, farmer organizational development, extension in value chains, and agricultural entrepreneurship. Okay, so for the NELC thematic area, we have gender issues, gender and advisory services, risk management and adaptation. We have, also a module around, evaluation of extension programs. We have NELC that talks about policies, but we also have nutrition sensitive NELC. We have NELC that talks about e-extension, and also a theme that talks about, youth mentorship. But for NELC technical, that is where we have our smallholder horticulture empowerment and promotion, which is SHEP. We also have, other integrated pest management. So today we are looking at SHEP, which is one of our NELC, technical module. So this is really for you to know that the webinar, as we have it today, we are able to contextualize it within our NELC, package that we are offering, something that you can actually get online. The last slide. Surely. So all our NELC, products, they come with, different, products. When you go online on the GFRAS website, these are all the different, material that you can actually find. Thank you so much, Ingrid. I think we are done with this part. Then we can continue with our program. Thank you so much.
Just to add, Lami, thank you. We will walk everyone through these links that you're mentioning. We have a slot later in our program where we will show you exactly how this works, how you can go in online, how you can register, how you can take the SHEP course, and also others if you are interested. So we will have like a brief session, but we'll get back to that later.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Ingrid. So at this point in time, we have given you this background and all that. Now we're going to zoom into this SHEP module. What is it all about? For that, I'm going to call upon Mr. Masafumi Nakanishi. He's going to actually, make a presentation about NELC, and he's coming all the way, from JICA. Yes, thank you so much. Over to you.
All right, Dr. Flami, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction. Let me show my presentation slide. Just a second, please.
While you prepare and put your slide, I would just like to remind our participators that they are the Q&A session and the chat options, they are open. So throughout the presentations, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you can either put it in the Q&A or in the chat, and we will address that as soon as we have the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Ingrid, thank you very much. I'm ready now. Let me go through the outline and progress of the SHEP approach. My name is Masafumi Nakanishi. I'm a JICA SHEP consultant of JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. Thank you very much for your time today. This is the contents of the presentation today. First one is a background introduction. Third one is about the SHEP approach, outcomes, impacts of the SHEP, and way forward and differences. For the background of the SHEP approach, in many developing countries, the majority of the poor live in rural areas and earn a living as small-scale farmers. Those farmers face a lot of challenges, and such as low income, and due to having little knowledge about cultivation techniques and market demand, relying on a few intermediaries to sell their produce, like traders, middlemen, very few of them they know, and not being able to negotiate prices on an equal footing. Small-scale farmers are most of the time not in a good position to negotiate with the market stakeholders. But a lot of the participants today know about it, but those are the common challenges those small-scale farmers are facing. So JICA developed the SHEP approach to improve the situation. Now, what is a SHEP approach? Let me explain you what it stands for. The SHEP stands for Smallholder Horticulture Empowerment and Promotion Approach. And it was developed in Kenya through a JICA's Technical Cooperation Project started in 2006. An agriculture extension approach that realized market-oriented agriculture and succeeded in increasing farmers' income. So what skills are being developed through SHEP approach? It focuses on capacity development, and farmers change their mindset from grow and sell to grow to sell. These two components are very important for the SHEP approach. Now, the expansion of the SHEP approach is one of the government of Japan's national commitments through the TCAP process. The photo you are seeing is former Prime Minister, Mr. Shinzo Abe. He also touched on the SHEP approach, importance of raising, increasing the income of the small-scale farmers in Africa. So who is implementing the SHEP approach? Extension agents in both the public and private sectors, respective governments, development partners, private companies and NGOs, those are implementers of the SHEP approach. Not only the government organizations or government officials, but also private companies, NGO officials, those people could implement the SHEP approach. So far, in total, through the JICA's project or program, 31,158 officials of 28 African countries are involved in the SHEP approach. Those benefits 257,782 small-scale farmers in African countries. But now, not only in Africa, the SHEP approach is expanding beyond African continent. In total, including Asia, Latin America, and Middle Eastern countries, of course, including African countries, 38,278 officials are involved in the SHEP approach, and those people are benefiting 280,980 small-scale farmers across the world. So it is expanding to the outside of Africa, to Asia, Latin America, and Middle Eastern countries. But target is 1 million small-scale farmers by 2030. So that's the target. Now, let us show you the SHEP approach, the digest version of the video of the SHEP approach. Can you, I hope
I cannot hear
Africa,
anything.
small-scale farms
Okay.
have been unable to grow high-quality crops due to a lack of knowledge in cultivation technology or from settling for low prices presented by a middleman because of an unfamiliarity with market prices. This has resulted in inadequate income levels. To support the small-scale farms, which comprise the majority, Smallholder Horticulture Empowerment and Promotion, or SHEP, has been crafted through technical cooperation between Kenya and JICA. Under this unique approach, farmers conduct their own market surveys and obtain
I think Ingrid is trying to get it to work.
Not here, I cannot play it. Just a second.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, while we are trying to get this work, feel free to actually use the Q&A. Yes, if you have any questions or any comments, use the Q&A, just to put that, and we'll be responding to those comments and questions at a later stage. Just give us a minute.
Can I have the link sent separately so I can activate it from here? We can get back to that. I should do, if someone can send me the link for the video over email, and then I can activate it here from my side. Or I can also look for it. Just a second.
Yeah, just give us a second. This is what happens, with these online staff, because this video is quite important. Samson Shetu, I've seen your request to actually enable the Q&A. We will address that as well. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be able to enable the Q&A slot as well for people to be able to do that. Okay.
The video, so we'll see if you can hear it as well. I'll play and then we'll test it.
Sorry,
Approach is divided into 4
video is
separate
not
steps.
shown well for some people.
The first
Have
step
been
is shared
unable to grow
goals.
high-quality crops due to a lack of knowledge in cultivation technology, or from settling for low prices presented by a middleman because of an unfamiliarity with market prices. This has resulted in inadequate income levels. To support the small-scale farms, which comprise the majority, Smallholder Horticulture Empowerment and Promotion, or SHEP, has been crafted through technical cooperation between GFRAS and JICA. Under this unique approach, farmers conduct their own market surveys and obtain an understanding of saleable crops and timing, as well as production costs. Farming plans achieve market-aware farming and grow crops to sell. This approach, which started in 2006 in Kenya, has raised awareness among farmers for cultivating crops in demand by the market. It has nurtured business-minded farmers who make improvements from crop cultivation to farm management. Combines psychology and economics. Designing activities and mechanisms to empower and motivate people and promote an operation of farming as a business. In SHEP activities, these two elements work in harmony. The concept of the SHEP approach consists of transforming the awareness and behavior of farmers from grow and sell to grow to sell, achieving a sustainable increase in income from horticultural crops. There is a theory that a high level of motivation can be maintained when people act out of interest or curiosity. Three basic needs are believed to be important to promote such autonomous motivation. Timing is the need to feel in control of one's own behaviors and goals. Competence is a need to master tasks and learn different skills. And relatedness is a need to have a sense of belonging and attachment to other people. The SHEP approach focuses on these three needs, formulating activities that encourage farmers to face issues and think of solutions on their own. Another element in the SHEP approach is the mutual sharing of information between farmers and market actors. In economics, there is the theory of asymmetric information. Having the respective actors of market distribution, from producers to the consumers, learn information possessed by other actors, mitigates information asymmetry, and leads to efficient business transactions. When this is applied to the distribution of agricultural products, it means matching information on the crops produced by farmers with information on the needs of actors who are the buyers. That is, information on who wants to sell or purchase what crop of what quality and quantity, when and where. Doing this results in transactions that satisfy the desires of both parties. The SHEP approach is divided into 4 essential steps. The first step is share goals with farmers. After the target farmer group is selected, sensitization workshops are held to explain project concepts and activities to all related actors, including farmers. The second step is farmers' awareness is raised. This step aims to create opportunities for farmers to become aware of improvements that can be made. It consists of various activities, including participatory baseline surveys, market surveys, and stakeholder forums. The third step is farmers make decisions. Members of farmer groups select the crops to be cultivated according to market need, as ascertained through market surveys. The final step consists of farmers acquire skills. Farmers select the crops to be cultivated and learn the technology required to cultivate these crops that are in demand in the market. By incorporating the promotion of farming as a business and empowering and motivating people into the activities of the 4 steps, farmers' awareness and behavior change. This results in higher incomes. The revolutionary SHEP approach to boosting the income levels of farmers who have suffered from poverty up until now is to support their individual self-help efforts to increase income as a business. These activities have now spread throughout Africa.
Okay, thank you very much for the backing up. I'm sorry about some technical problems. I hope all of you were able to see the videos. It one show very important information and concepts and some detailed information about the SHEP approach. Let me go back to the presentation slide. In the video also, it was this diagrams were presented. In the SHEP approach, 2 important concepts were there. One is promoting farming as a business, and there is a information gap between market actors and producers. For example, market actors have information of well-sold varieties of the crops, price, then seasonal change, market conditions, but producers have their own information, like they are about their farms, location, production, potential, quality and quantity of the crops they can grow. But normally they don't communicate well, or they don't exchange information so often. So there is a asymmetry of the information. The SHEP can mitigate the information gap. That's one of the key characteristics of the SHEP approach. On the right-hand side, there's a pink circle. There are 3 psychological needs to motivate people. One is autonomy. The second is the competence. The third is the relatedness. Autonomy is a people need to control of their own behaviors and goals. Competence is the people need to gain mastery of tasks and learn different skills. Relatedness is that people need to experience a sense of belonging and attachment to other people. So those 3 important psychological needs to motivate people are included or integrated in the SHEP approach. For example, we talked about filling the information gap between the market stakeholders and producers. But trusting relationship is very important based on win-win situation. Without the trusting relationship, even if they exchange information, it may not be, their business relationship may not be continued or may not be successful. So building a trusting relationship is very important. In my experience, when I was in Northern Uganda, I was implementing, when we started the project to implement, the market stakeholders and local farmers did not trust each other at all. They did not have a good relationship because they did not keep promise to each other. So after when the project started, we supported them to communicate well and then inform them that building a good relationship to build a trusting relationship is very important. Business is something based on trust. So let's try. Then gradually their relationship became better. They started trusting each other better. So then their farmers' income also became increased. The farmers also started find different market stakeholders to sell. These are very important and component of the SHEP approach. Then one of the farmers, here the important point is market information is not just the information. It's information with a human face. This farmer said, after meeting a middleman during the market survey, we invited her to come and visit our farm. We showed her how we grew vegetables and how good our vegetables were. So before we didn't talk about vegetables at all with middleman. We only talked about the price. Now our buyers give us consumers' feedback, both positive and negative, on the vegetables we supply. We improve our farming based on the feedback. So this is a very healthy, nice communication based on their relationship. So this farmer made efforts to become a trustworthy supplier. This is a very important point. Another thing is, another important point is mutually beneficial business practices, win-win practice through repeated transactions. So transactions should be done many times. And then farmers wanted to create the one-stop service. And then it actually met the needs of the trader in this photo. So she was glad of the efforts of this group. Then because those farmers, local farmers, she didn't need to travel long distance searching for vegetables. So it created a win-win situation and helped building a trusting relationship, which is a key of the success of the business. Now, SHEP emphasis on motivation, and this is very important, empowering and motivating people. And for doing that, self-determination theory was introduced to the SHEP approach. Before SHEP approach, that theory was not discussed in the well discussed in a development program. So now it is a unique approach compared to simply providing the appropriate skills, just providing appropriate skills. So those practitioners mentioned, those are very important about the motivating people with based on the 3 psychological needs. This is a photo of the Dr. Aikawa, who initiated the SHEP approach and introduced the SHEP approach to JICA. And he made a presentation on utilization of self-determination theory at the 6th International Self-Determination Theory Conference. And the gentleman on the right-hand side of the Dr. Aikawa is Dr. Edward Deci, who advocate the self-determination theory. This is essential 4 steps. The video also talked about it. Then these 4 steps are very important core of the SHEP approach as well. So some of the examples for each step, let me go through very briefly. For example, sensitization workshop, selecting target area, target group, example of the selection of target and sharing vision and goal, which is the first step. For the second step, raising farmers' awareness of the situation and new information, conducting participatory baseline survey, and conducting needs assessment, market survey. Those are important and common activities done for the second step. The common other common activities for the third step, which is a decision making by the farmers, crop selection, action plan making. Those are very common activities. For the fourth step, training for extension staff, and also demand-driven in-field training for farmers. Those are very important, essential activities for the four steps, which is a provision of technical solutions. Let me go through a little more about how it happens for each step by using one of the example activity. For the sharing the vision and goal, sensitization workshop. All levels of stakeholders attend the workshop. Participants understand what they are going to do. Then participants identify their roles and responsibilities. And all stakeholders share how to realize market-oriented agriculture. For the second step, awareness of the situation. Through conducting market survey, farmers visit the adjacent market, understand not only price, but also required quality, quantity, selling condition, and price fluctuation, and a lot of important information to prepare for producing food, horticultural products, sorry. So both market stakeholders and farmers can share their own information. For the third step, decision making by farmers, they do crop selection. After collecting information at the market, they come back to their community. They get together among the their own group members. They discuss expected yield, average expected price, expected total income, cost of production, expected benefits, market conditions, crop by crop. Then they discuss and do ranking to select the crops to grow. And then these are very important process that farmers make their own decision, which were not always done by the other types of project, or this is a unique approach for the SHEP. The fourth step, provision of technical solution, demand-driven in-field training. Extension staff are trained first in the skills and knowledge of target crops according to farmers' needs. Then all skills and techniques are easy for farmers to adopt. Then those trained extension staff provide the training. Then farmers learn what they want to know. So the adoption rate is high. These steps are important anyway. I think you will have a chance to learn or experience more about the activities for each step. So let me move on. What is a model for the implementation? JICA confirmed the commitment by respective governments and institutions. Then JICA received officials or staff from those countries to the training on the SHEP approach in Japan and Kenya and Malawi. Then participants of the training made action plans and to implement them. And then JICA provides technical assistance. Then also each country and institution try to internalize, institutionalize, and normalize the SHEP approach to sustain the SHEP activities. Outcomes and impacts. What makes a SHEP approach successful? Increase in income from horticultural crops. This is one important essence. Another one is the improvement of livelihoods, such as building new houses and allocating the budget, education of the children, and creating jobs for young people. A very simple but comprehensive approach to improve the farming style of small-scale farmers. And farmers also know the market first through the activities. These are the successful essence of the SHEP approach. Then why should others invest in this approach? The SHEP approach is not an isolated program or project, rather a complementary approach suitable for other initiatives aimed at improving the livelihoods of farmers. So even with the other independent program, project, or initiatives can adopt the SHEP approach, which is also important and unique part of the SHEP approach. So what can the SHEP approach change? This is a very important part of the SHEP approach. It can change in farmers' attitudes toward marketing from grow and sell to grow to sell. It is not easy to change farmers' attitude sometimes. And then often I have seen farmers just grow some crops because their neighbors grow, and then they did not check the market information. They just grow it, but they failed. They failed to sell as well. So they did not make a lot of profits. But through SHEP approach, they check the market information, they make a plan appropriately, and then a lot of target farmers were successful to grow, produce and sell their products at the market. Then what happened at the field level? Income from horticultural crops has increased in various countries, Kenya, Rwanda, Malawi, and Lesotho, and other countries as well, Uganda as well. And then income was increased only within 2 years. For the case of Rwanda, average net income per member from cooperative farmland of direct support cooperative has improved. In 2 areas, for example, 2.3 times to 4.8 times in range, their income per member were increased. This is a significant increase. These are some photos of the successful cases in Malawi. One of the few of the farmers were able to build a new house with tin roof or brick house. This is actually a huge improvement. Then it's not it's common actually to see those results through SHEP approach. And then one photo shows one gentleman bought a motorcycle. Kenya's case, some farmers invested in livestock, some were able to buy light with solar panel, and some reinvested in water pump. One of the groups built a new office for a farmer group. Very good case, which can be seen in other countries as well. So the way forward, what is our target? Joint declaration was made for achieving better lives of 1 million small-scale farmers through the SHEP approach by representative of governments, development partners, private companies, and relevant organizations at TCAT 7, SHEP approach high-level event in August 2019. This declaration is still existing. Then we are targeting 1 million small-scale farmers to reach, and then those 1 million farmers will be successful. So that's our target, and then all the members any members who participate in the webinar today can be a part of it to achieve this goal. So let's try to achieve this goal. These are the references of the SHEP approach website, Facebook, and YouTube. It introduces SHEP handbook for extension staff, and then a booklet of introduction to the psychology of international cooperation, a longer version of the video we showed. So this information will be shared with you, and then please check later on to deepen your understanding about the SHEP approach. So thank you very much for your attention and your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that elaborate presentation. We will be pausing before we go to do the demonstration of the online. We can take, some questions. I already see only one question or comment from Abba Gibrald Sankare. He's saying, my name is Abba Gibri Sankare from the Gambia. He's the director or register of, cooperative or agribusiness department. He wants to know if FAO, okay, so maybe let me phrase the way he has written it. I want to know FAO's level of involvement as far as SHEP approach is concerned. Do you want to respond to that, Mr. Nakashika? Is there any involvement of FAO in the SHEP approach?
Sorry, so far, yes, there should be some cases, but I don't have a particular information I have now. So let me check and then go back to this gentleman later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll pause a little bit and take more questions and comments. Maybe let me just give you an opportunity to do that. If you have any questions, just go to the Q&A or the chat. I know there was also somebody who wanted us to share the link. The link of the video has been shared already on the chat box.
Maybe just because we, just to add something, Hilami, we have such a diversity of people here, and it's my understanding that in Africa alone, SHEP is present in 37 countries, 60 in total, if I'm not mistaken. I think these are the numbers. So maybe if you are from one of these countries where it is, you can also think of opportunities where you can engage after you get to know more this approach, to see where and how it is being implemented in your country. And if it is not, what would be the requirements or what are the priorities also for this approach to come in. I think people who take the course, in the future, they can be advocates for the approach. If they think this is something that would work well in their communities, they can be advocates for this approach, ask and show where and how they could benefit from it, their communities would benefit from it, and we could together get closer to this goal of reaching so many farmers as it was said.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ingrid. I don't see any hands as yet or question. Maybe at this point, I will just ask you to continue to do the demonstration of where people can actually get the module online, including, some of, the net products that we have. Over to you, Ingrid.
Thank you, Lami. So I will now share my screen as well with you. I hope you can see that well. This that you are seeing now is the NELC website. There are two ways, as Hilami mentioned, that you can access all the material that we have regarding the new Extensionist Learning Kit, right? So we have the booklets that are available offline that you can download on the GFRAS website. When you go there, there is a section dedicated to the NELC, and you can download this material and have all of it offline. This is free of charge. We do not charge for it. We will not charge for it. and you can, together in your communities, go over these materials, see what it is relevant for to you, and also adapt it. Just something that I would like to say. We are aware that when we develop a training module, this is a basis to discuss a topic, but there are always there are always country-specific adjustments or adaptations that need to be made. So we also have developed a guide on how you can customize different NELC modules for your country, for your region, for your reality, and work together in order to make it more identifiable with the communities you are working with. So that is one possibility. The other possibility is to go online to the NELC website, which address you see here is the nelc.g-fras.org. At the moment, it is available in English, French, and Spanish. Not all modules are in all languages, but there is a lot that you can find already in these 3 languages. And you can register here. You see that here on the right-hand side, you can already log in here on the right-hand, top right-hand side, or you can also click here below to register. So I'll show you how this looks. If you already have an account for the GFRAS website, which, as I say, is free and free of charge, you can register, takes you 30 seconds, 1 minute. The same login information is valid on the NELC website. If not, you can just come here, you will register, you will create your information, and then you will be able to take in these courses. Why register? For one, the main reasons is that you can then have certificates for courses that you complete. And it is with the information that you put in here, the name and your full name and email address, that this certificate will be then emitted. This is again also a free certificate that you can add to your CV, that you can show your future employers, that you can say, look, I have taken a course on this or that topic, and therefore I'm a little bit more equipped, or I have better tools to handle some of these issues. So here on the main front page, you will see the list of all the modules that we have. And as we are talking about the SHEP module today, the SHEP approach, this is part, as Lami already mentioned, of the NELC technical. We have, as she also said, these 3 types of modules. One that is our basic training package on the Extensionist Learning Kit. What are skills that modern extension staff nowadays should have to better be able to perform their tasks? And as we've seen, a lot of the people present today are in and around, working in and around extension. We have some thematic ones, and we have the technical ones. So once you register, you can go and you see the modules. I will just go here, and then you can, I am not logged in, but you will see this as a person who does not yet have an account. Once we want to sign in, once we want to take a course, we have to sign in. So I will also show you that. So here you will see the different modules. Here are, of course, our ones on the SHEP, and you can either preview how it would look like, or you can already enroll. Once you enroll on a course, you do not have a time on which you have to finish. Of course, we encourage you to do not take too much time in between the modules of a course, so things remain fresh. But we know that life commitments, work commitments can take their time, so there is no maximum time, minimum time on which you can finish or complete the course. Once you can, I can just show you here how it looks like when we preview. You will see that there are presentations, there are PowerPoints, just like any online course that you have seen. There is going to be some content, and there is going to be some questions just for you, mostly to check whether you are really comprehending the content or not, and you can complete that. All of these presentations, they remain available for you. You will always have access to this. This is the presentation that we saw, or part of the presentation that we already saw today. And as always, you can go deeper into everything and all of the content that is being presented. If I would want to enroll into this course, I would just come here, it would ask me to log in, and this is what I would then complete. Here again, I can see the other sections. In detail, it breaks down the content of the course, what is it that we will be exposed to, and you can also see, again, presentations or the content or the material that you have. So this is just an introduction that we would like to give you, very brief, to this platform. Once logged in, it looks a little bit different, but just like in any online course, mine would look different because I am an admin to the platform, but it's also very similar and very user-friendly. So this is where we encourage you to come and take in this shorter version, which is already quite comprehensive of the SHEP approach. And of course, we will hear a little bit later, there are always ongoing opportunities for the longer training on the SHEP, which you will hear later today. So for now, this is what I would like to show you. If you have any, just here you also see the frequently asked questions section. Where do you take a module? How do you move within the modules? This is all that we have talked about. And of course, if you run into any questions, if you have faced any difficulties in using the platform, we are available. Please contact us. We have this email address that you can find here, nelk@gfras.org, and we will get back to you individually on any questions that you might have. So I would stop here. I would get back to Lami. Thank you, Lami. And if there are questions about the platform or anything else, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, thank you so much, Ingrid. Maybe what I can actually ask you to do, if you can just maybe share that link to their platform, on the chat, so that people can actually get it readily available. At this point in time, I would like people to ask questions. Use your Q&A box, or you can use your chat box if you have, some questions. Okay, I see one question here from Samson Eshetu. Thank you so much for the question. I'm going to read it. I think that question is actually going to you, Mr. Nakanishi. Maybe also when we get the experience from South Africa, maybe they might also be able to share, some of, their insight around this thing. So the question is there a contractual agreement between growers and buyers, in bracket, that contract farming? What is the producer's guarantee in case of uncertainty market situation after production? So basically he wants to know more about, this marketing and whether there are some contractual agreement between the growers and the buyers. And I think the last part of the question, okay, so maybe let me say, yeah, he wants to see, what are the guarantees, for the producers if there are some market, uncertainties. Do you want to respond maybe to that?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Dr. Rami, thank you very much. To respond to Mr. Samson's question, there could be a contractual agreement between growers and buyers, but that's not a condition in the first place. The most important point is that the farmers go to the market and get the information and understand the market situation, then make a plan, make their own plan based on that. So then after building a good relationship with market people, then it's going to be their depending on their own judgment, how they want to make a promise. But since this is a they are based on the market situation. There's no guarantee sometimes, even if, okay, we can grow this volume of this kind of this quality of this variety, then if, sometimes the rain, there's not enough rain or disease coming or anything could happen. So of course, those need to be discussed among themselves. So contractual farming is not the point of the SHEP approach. It could happen. Then if just we should make sure that farmers do not are not put in a very disadvantaged position. But other than that, important thing is they get necessary information, and then they discuss among themselves and they make a decision by themselves. So that's the answer from me. And of course, I later on, like Dr. Rami said, my other colleagues who are implementing SHEP approach, like from South Africa, Ghana, and Kenya, later on during the panel discussion, they could also touch on that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will take some more questions if you have. Okay, I don't see any questions. Ingrid, okay, Samson Shetu has raised the hand. Probably has a follow-up question there. Ingrid, is there possibility to allow him to speak?
I will try to do that. In the meantime, I would just like to point or bring the attention that as an answer to the previous question has been placed on the chat regarding FAO's involvement. So we can see that, and I also put it, it says it comes from the JICA headquarters, and that says that in some countries such as Niger and Senegal, they are working together with FAO to include the SHEP approach in the curriculum of FAO's farmer field schools. So there are some more direct collaborations. And now Samson should be able to speak.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. It's great to see you, colleagues, Ilami and Ingrid, and I would like to appreciate also the presenter. I think the SHEP approach is very fascinating, and I really appreciate the effort put by JICA and also GFRAS also putting this in NELC so that these materials could be accessible by extension workers. So I would like to follow up. Thank you for the responses. I'm not insisting to have a contract farming, rather, horticultures are perishable. And we're not certain before production, when producers went to the market and did the assessment, the demand and the market situation could be changed after production because of one could be surplus production, and also the market preference could be changed. Then during this time, what would be the farmers' guarantee? What they anticipated before production and during actual production could be different. So that's why my follow-up question I ask, have you faced such kind of challenge by producers, and what were the measures that you have taken, at least to keep farmers' expectation? And I would like to hear your experience. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Samson, thank you very much. It's very nice to talk to you, and thank you very much for the further question. This is just my experience, and then other participants or expertise or other panelists may be able to share different approaches or reactions. But in the very beginning, farmers should also understand the risk of the market. There's no definite demands. Of course, there are demands and then tendencies. And so at least farmers understand, okay, this variety of, for example, tomato or green peppers or eggplants are sold well and then bought well by the consumers. And in this season, this price, this season, this price, something like this, they understand. And of course, if a lot of things could happen, even based on my experience in northern part of Uganda, there was a very famous, well-known horticultural producing areas. A lot of those, vegetables came from those areas. But the target farmers we supported started selling their products, and they were able to start selling some amount, a good amount. Then, but they also understood the risk of coming in those horticultural products from other areas, and also there are some climate change and other external risks as well. So they thought about some different choices of markets, like very local market, like a bigger market in town, big town, major town, and or even their neighbors to sell. So some different choices to sell, and then and also they did not change everything from the 100% in one season. They gradually changed their crops to grow, because they need to take risks. The project cannot take risks, or we can support, or extension officers can support, but we cannot take their risks. So we need to share and explain well what could happen. Then they support, and they also consider the risks. So that's my answer, Mr. Sampson. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me see if we have more questions on chat. I don't see. I see Dr. Sudanan Prasad, who's saying insightful session. Thank you so much. We are gaining, the momentum, and people are really, excited about this. Okay, so
there is on the Q&A, Lami, there is one.
Okay.
The Q&A section from Hongo Abatatu Mandak is asking, is there any difference in the share the smallholders hold in the vegetable market when compared to before the start of SHEP? Sure that there is. So another question is, do they grow to the level that they can compete with vegetable growing companies in the market?
Okay. Maybe before we take those responses, my suggestion is that, we build on the momentum, we hold on those questions. Let us take South Africa, because this is a country, one of the countries where they've also adopted SHEP, and they are training people. So let us hear what their experiences are. Maybe some of the answers might be there. If we don't have answers, then we can actually go back, to those answers. Shall we agree to do that? I know I can see people nodding, even though I don't hear you, and I can see you nodding. So let's build on this momentum. What we had is a real overview of SHEP. What is it all about? The different countries where it's being implemented. But now we want to hear the voice of one of the countries where implementation is taking place. How has been their experiences? And then we'll go back, to the Q&A again. Okay, so let me welcome, Mr. Jeff Ngaka. Okay, so he's here, our presenter, and he will tell us what he's doing in South Africa and how they have experienced, SHEP implementation in the country. Jeff, over to you.
Thank you very much, Program Director.
Okay, maybe hold on, Jeff. Maybe one thing, I know on the program we had planned to have a short break, but let us build on this momentum and let us continue, and we will be able to break, earlier than planned. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jeff.
Thank you very much, Program Director, and good morning to colleagues around the world. I just want to share the South African experience in implementing SHEP. So this is a short presentation as guided by yourself, just to highlight some of the key lessons and how we are implementing SHEP in the country. And you are correct, we'll probably be answering some of the questions as we go along this presentation. Okay, my outline is as follows. Let me not dwell too much since I'm given just a few minutes, but I'll just share some key SHEP activities in the country, how we're going about training extension practitioners, some of the opportunities, and highlight some results and impacts of SHEP to date. And in the main, I just want to focus on how we plan on mainstreaming or institutionalizing SHEP in the country. And just as a background, I will not dwell on what SHEP is and so on, because I think the former presenter went to town in terms of that. But in the country in South Africa, the SHEP we started in 2013 as part of the feasibility study, just to identify the opportunities for implementing SHEP in the country. So the feasibility study was conducted in 3 provinces, namely Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal. From there, after we started with training of extension practitioners in Japan and Kenya. And what was key as part of their training was the development and implementation of action plans. So the pilot in KwaZulu-Natal and Limpopo continued in 2014. Then in 2015, we started now with the implementation of the SHEP approach in the country, where we now started to roll it out to other provinces in 2018. So the training of the SHEP of the extension practitioners continued with main training happening in Japan and some lesson learning in Kenya and or Malawi, depending on the arrangement. Just to highlight our key steps in line with the essential steps of SHEP, which I'll not really dwell much as they were highlighted in the earlier presentation, but just to say for us, we basically, as part of the targeting, we look at existing projects that are already existing groups and so on, so that we do not influence the formation of group as part of SHEP, but we go to those groups that are already existing. And in terms of farmer awareness, we do this as part of data collection and training of officials. And the farmers actually are the one now visiting the actual markets where they do their market survey. With step 3, decision making by farmers, that becomes the initiative by the farmers to select or choose the market and the crop that is essential for them or that will suit their needs. And thereafter, we provide technical support. And the previous speaker, chairperson and colleagues indicated that SHEP can be adapted to other programs or approaches. This is precisely what we also do in the country, where we provide technical support. We use various other approaches, other extension approaches like your farmer field school. We also use the commodity-based extension approaches, where we also deploy extension practitioners to commodity organization and so on. So that also becomes part of our day-to-day mainstreaming of the SHEP approach. In terms of training of extension practitioners, let me first take you back to the pilot stage, where during the pilot stage, we started with 18 extension practitioners who were trained on SHEP, and about 450 farmers benefited from the SHEP approach in the 3 provinces, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal. However, when we were rolling out the SHEP, we targeted all the district extension coordinators. So 57 district extension coordinators were trained, and over 3,000 farmers are now benefiting from the SHEP approach in the entire country. However, what is interesting with this is that those 57 extension coordinators received training of trainers. So they became the trainers of some of the extension practitioners. So among that 590, most of these were trained by the district extension coordinators. So in summary, we can say the training of extension practitioners is, for now, is progressing well in the country. However, there's still some concern in terms of the adoption rate of the approach, as it's said to be a little bit low. Although we are working with 3,000, we want to see after the mainstreaming and institutionalization of the SHEP, being able to reach as many farmers as possible. I'll also share the South African target in this regard. There are various opportunities that we are seeing with the SHEP, including training opportunities, opportunity to change the mindset of producers to produce with the market in mind, so that they take farming and they promote it as a business. There is an opportunity presented by this approach to empower and motivate farmers. It also brings additional opportunities for collaboration with other countries. In the previous financial year, we had a joint seminar with the Republic of Namibia with interest on livestock SHEP, which our province, KwaZulu-Natal, is spearheading that approach. We are also conducting joint monitoring with JICA, but there is an opportunity to bring on board other state-owned enterprises like the Agricultural Research Council, the ARC, the National Agricultural Marketing Council, the NAMC. There are benefits, colleagues. Just want to highlight, the previous speaker was talking of motorcycles and so on and building houses. I think we are also having some of the participants sharing their successes, saying, this one, I was able to buy a truck and now I don't have problems when I want to transport my vegetables to the market. This lady saying, I managed to build a house with 4 rooms. So those are some of the genuine impacts on the ground. And for smallholders, we have now adopted the SHEP approach, and they are able to supply their produce to the market. We also, colleagues, just to highlight that we in the past 6 months had appointed the services of assistant agricultural practitioners. And we have about 4,470 nationwide. This case is one of those of the AAP, we call them AAPs, Assistant Agricultural Practitioners, in Mpumalanga province, who was trained on SHEP, and she used the SHEP approach to assist one of the smallholders to access the market. As you can see, someone was talking about market contract and so on. You can see the letter of intent that she facilitated, that now that smallholder farmers will be able to supply that supermarket, Roots Butchery. Her name is Ms. Klati. I'm sure she's also part of this session. So now we can also see the opportunities that that is lying out there with the 4,470 extension practitioners or assistant agricultural practitioners that we have appointed. So you can imagine if one of them is targeting 10 or 15 smallholder farmers in their area, you can see the multiplier effect this approach will have in the country in terms of access to market, which is one of the critical constraints in the agricultural sector, because farmers, especially smallholder farmers, find it very, very difficult to access market. But with the AAPs like Ms. Klati and others across the country, and using the SHEP approach, we see this as an opportunity to actually unlock that blockage. We want to mainstream as a country the SHEP approach, and the leadership, the political leadership of the department has a buy-in on this approach. Our Honorable Minister, Toko Didiza, hosted webinars throughout the country with over 5,792 participants. These webinars were also broadcast on radio station just to create that awareness about the approach so that farmers, stakeholders become aware of this approach, but most importantly of the importance of producing or taking agriculture as a business. We are collaborating with JICA, and we, on a regular basis, on an annual basis, we host a SHEP International Workshop. Since the advent of COVID-19, we've been doing this online, but previously it was a physical event. Hopefully with the COVID now out of the scene, this will become now again a physical event. We have now institutionalized a SHEP. It's a standing item, and JICA forms part of the Public Sector Forum for Extension and Advisory Services. This is for monitoring purposes, colleagues, because this platform or the forum comprises of extension coordinators from the various, from the 9 provinces. It comprises of the state-owned entities, as well as the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. So this is where various programs relating to extension are discussed and monitored. We have also, through that forum, decided that the SHEP needs to be a standing item in the Provincial Extension Coordinating Forum, what we call the PECS. So the coordinating forum at the provincial level includes broader stakeholders than the PSF. So this one also includes commodity organization, farmers representative, and so on. So we want also those stakeholders to be part of this and understand the concept of SHEP and how we intend in mainstreaming it. We conduct quarterly monitoring of SHEP activities, physical in the provinces, but another platform, as I indicated, is through the Public Sector Forum for Extension and Advisory Services. We have an action plan that we intend to implement as part of the mainstreaming of SHEP in the country. By the way, in South Africa, when we say SHEP, we refer it as smallholder empowerment and promotion. So we remove the horticulture because we also want to consider other commodities. In fact, we are considering other commodities other than horticultural crops. So we bring in livestock in the mix so that farmers in general, not only horticultural farmers, also have that mindset change and to take agriculture as a business. So what we also do is to incorporate this approach in other projects and programs, as I indicated, your farmer field school, commodity-based extension approaches, and so on. We are looking now at policy alignment so that when we finalize our SOPs for producer support programs, and also on the norms and standards for extension and advisory services, the issues of market-oriented agriculture and SHEP are included there. What is also critical, especially to ensure that the adoption rate is has improved or is improved, is to focus on advocacy and awareness raising. And what we want to do there is to actually link the SHEP advocacy and awareness with the communication plan for the National Policy on Producer Development Support. Once endorsed by Cabinet, we go out on a countrywide campaign and awareness so that the principles of market-led, as I indicated, are communicated as part of the communication plan of that policy. But most importantly, also to share promotional material, including the YouTube videos that was shared earlier on. We also need to be having our own so that we can share local success stories in that organized manner. In terms of institutionalization, I've indicated that at the national level, we have got the public sector forum, wherein SHEP is a standing item, but at the provincial level, it's now going to be a standing item for the Provincial Extension Coordinating Forum. We're looking at a repository of information within the department so that this information that is sitting in our laptops can be shared with the wider audience through the website. But in terms of partnership and networking, we're looking at a national annual SHEP conference or endeavor that can bring on board various stakeholders to share their experiences and so on. But a critical pillar in our action plan is on capacity building so that we continue with training of trainers in the provinces, those who also extend the training to other extension practitioners. But we also continue with the training of farmers and the sensitization of farmers so that they are aware and they take up this approach. M&E becomes very crucial for everything that we do. So we'll be continuing with our quarterly visit to the provinces, but also as part of the PSF for provincial coordinators of extension to be reporting various activities, including the SHEP. Our lesson so far is that we see positive results that are being obtained, particularly when farmers take the decision by themselves. So they decide which market, they decide which commodity, and they feel empowered in that way. We also note in our SHEP implementation that farmers who are well organized tend to be less dependent on government funding. And therefore, those working in groups through SHEP therefore tend to share more information on various aspects of farming throughout the value chain. We see farmers feeling confident because now they had an opportunity to negotiate deals for themselves. But most importantly, this approach tends to reduce the workload for the extension practitioners, because you have farmers who now are independent and can negotiate this for themselves. a setback has been during the COVID-19. This tremendously affected the implementation of SHEP activities in the country. But we are now bouncing back, and we are on the ground to implement some SHEP activities. Plans going forward, worth noting that as I indicated, SHEP is now going to be part of the Provincial Extension Coordinating Forum, the PECF. By the way, the previous speaker said there is a commitment to reach 1 million smallholder farmers participating in the SHEP approach. In the country, in South Africa, our minister gave us a target of 1 million. So you may get your target of 1 million from South Africa. If you come very close, you help us reach those million smallholders. But in the main, in the country, we also need our AAPs to actually go be on the ground and reach smallholder farmers. And this will augment the current approximately 2,000 extension practitioners that we have. So we want to continue with the training for the new and old extension practitioners, excuse me, and hold SHEP approaches with different stakeholders. This is part of lesson learning, but also part of awareness creation. We are now collaborating with JICA to conduct an impact study so that we present the findings that are scientifically sound in terms of what was before SHEP and what is after SHEP implementation. Most importantly, Chair and colleagues, is that we want to link SHEP with existing government support program so that we address both the infrastructure needs and the market needs as a package that goes to farmers participating in the SHEP program. Let me stop there. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't take too much time. Thanks for the opportunity.
No, thank you so much. You know, this is really, really, really exciting to hear. Ingrid, let me know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. No, this is really, really exciting, you know, to see one of the countries where they're implementing SHEP and they are sharing, you know, their experiences there. One of the things that I picked is your creativity or innovation to expand SHEP, you know, to go, you keep the name SHEP, but you go beyond horticulture because you see potential to actually use it in other commodities. Very interesting. But I also picked that you are using SHEP as one of the approach to actually train new or youth, what you call the AAPs, you know, youth into extension. So you are killing two birds with one stone, where you are bringing young people to provide, you know, extension services. And if, you know, Miss Slati, as you have mentioned, if she's somewhere online, maybe I might want to actually get, you know, her insight on this, but we'll go back to that. But I also learned that getting government to own SHEP and mainstream it into programs, and you put in place, you know, monitoring and evaluation. So that is where you actually stand to see a lot of, you know, output or maybe benefit from that. Okay, and also your mass training of master trainers. Okay, on that note, let us take, you know, some more questions. Ingrid, may I ask you to assist me to check, you know, what kind of questions are we getting?
Yes, we still have the question from Tumandak about the difference in share the smallholders have in the vegetable market and how they compete with growing companies. I think we touched upon that. But you can also go further. There is a question here from Fuchs Sharing. How many years did it take to impact South Africa positively after SHEP implementation? There are several questions being posed. And how do you provide any incentives such as seeds and greenhouses to farmers while taking up SHEP activities? And do farmers and vendors, aggregators make an agreement? So this is the question on agreement again. So that farmers are guaranteed to sell their produce at the end of the day. Otherwise, there is a big risk to the farmers.
Okay, there are the questions. I think, you know, Mr. Nakashini and Mr. Ngaka, any one of you can actually respond, you know, to some of those questions. Who wants to go first?
Sorry, maybe I want to understand the meaning of the question of the first one, Mr. Kongobata Tumanda. Is there any difference in share the smallholders holds in the vegetable market? Does this mean that market the farmers sell change?
That's how I understood it.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. Then
Grows, yeah.
it could change. For example, in the very beginning, some farmers thought the big market in the town is a good place to sell. They collected information from there in the very beginning, but actually the market fluctuate, you know, price of some crops they grow. They realized that they started changing selling the markets to nearer a place, for example, like a smaller place, or even they look for a different market in a different town. So it can change. It doesn't have to be one market, and then they can go to different types of market, including local market, you know, to the big one. So it could change. Another question is, yes, the size of the group can be changed, but from the beginning, the SHEP is approach to support small scale holders. So the size of the group is not so big. Like based on my experience, like 20 to 40 members, 50 members, those are average. It's not like 100, 200 people who then, you know, it's like a company. Of course, it can be a group or company like that as a result of the support after several years. But how to say, size of their group is not important. How to say, to make their size big is not the aim. The aim is each individual farmer realize and understand the importance of collecting information, market information, and build a good relationship with the market stakeholders, and then make a plan and decide by themselves and then sell. So that's the essence of the SHEP approach. Sorry, I think rest of the questions, I think it's better for other panelists to answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Ngaka, I think there are some questions really directed to you. Pop Tsering wants to know how many years did it take to impact South Africa positively after SHEP implementation? So that is one question there. The second question also from him is that, do you provide any incentives such as seeds and greenhouses for farmers while taking up SHEP activities? Over to you, Mr. Ngaka.
Thank you very much. The first question in terms of how many years, I think it's very relative. It will differ from project to project because initially we did not put a system in place for ongoing monitoring to actually check the impact, have a baseline and check after how many years and so on. But what we have done, as I indicated, we've been implementing this now almost a decade from the pilot stage. And we are only this year going to do a detailed impact assessment. So usually an impact assessment, you can do it after 5 years, where you are now sure that what you are measuring actually is basically indeed as a result of the interventions you have made. But we are doing ours now, and I'm sure it's going to show different results. It can also be a different result per province, per project, and that is how we now have structured, or we are intending to structure that study so that it gives us more insight in terms of the SHEP implementation, so that we don't just pick from isolated projects here and there, but we tend to have a national picture of what has happened. In terms of the last question, program director and colleagues, with the SHEP, we are not providing any material support. So we provide just the advisory, the capacity building, and so on. So there's no material support in terms of seeds, implement, and any other form of support. But as I indicated in the presentation, it would be ideal that we link it with other existing support programs, so that where you implementing SHEP and there are material needs, at least those are addressed by those programs, so that you don't leave farmers hanging. Remember, farmers, when you get to the ground and you are from the Ministry of Agriculture, for them, whether you're from Extension or you're from Farmer Support, they see you as a government officials responsible for producer support. So hence we want to try to eliminate that gap and ensure that SHEP is linked to existing programs, so that as those programs are providing support, we are dealing with the technical and capacity building side of farmers to take agriculture as a business and ensure that they supply the markets. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm sure the momentum is still going because we want to capture this. What we know, there are different angles of SHEP. We have shared with you the online version that we have on the GFRAS website. They've shared about, the entire SHEP module, but we also heard about how, different countries, maybe the example of South Africa, have integrated SHEP. But also during this time, we heard a lot about master training of trainers and all that. Now we want to hear the voices of people who have been trained as master trainer. How have they benefited from this? Initially, we were supposed to have 2 people, one from Kenya and one from Ghana, but unfortunately, the person from Kenya was not able to join because there were some emergencies that he had to take care of. But who help me put your safety belt and let us all fly to Ghana to meet, Agustin. Agustin, how are you? Agustin, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I can hear you. I'm very well. And
okay.
Unfortunately, I'm not talking from Ghana. I'm talking from China. I have been away from Ghana for 2 months for some short training. I'll be coming back in 2 weeks' time.
No problem. Okay, Jeff, may you please, stop sharing your presentation so that I can see Agustin clearly. Aha, there we go. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a conversation with Agustin, and thank you so much. I could see you're already, responding to some of the questions, but I'll also give you an opportunity to respond, to the question that Samson Eshetu had. But before we go there, who is Agustin? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
I'm a Ghanaian, as you have said, and currently I work with the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research under the Crop Research Institute of Ghana, and I am under the Division of Horticulture, and I work mostly on fruit and tree crops.
Okay, so you are not an extensionist.
Part of my work involved extension, because as a researcher, I do 60% research and 40% dissemination of research fundings, and also conducting some trainings for farmers.
Okay, so beautiful. So you actually demonstrating to us that, SHEP is not only, meant for extension, purely extension practitioners, but also researchers can also benefit from here. I just want to hear from you. I understand that you have been trained as one of the SHEP master trainers. Just give us a little bit of insight of when that happened and how did the training happen? Was it virtual or was it in person?
Thanks for the question. This, my concept about SHEP changed dramatically in last year, 2022. And lucky for me, I had a chance to be trained by two separate bodies, one by GFRAS in March to April, like 2 months. And it was purely online, of which we had 1 full week for a field visit to have an interaction with farmers, to see how they does their things, and to observe. And then we came back after the 1 week to present our findings to the meeting. Like, in fact, it was really interactive. It was really, although it was online, but it was purely like in person. Then the second one also happened in May, and this one was being conducted by JICA. And because I was very interested to know more about SHEP, so I was also lucky to be selected to be trained by JICA staying on SHEP, and this was also on online. And the good thing was that both of the training were had a varied people with different backgrounds. And with the one by GFRAS, we have about 25 participants. And these 25 participants were drawn from 18 countries, both from Africa and Asia. So it was really nice experience to hear how these various countries carry out their extension activities, and the various challenges being encountered, and the various interventions being put in place in solving this. And also the one by JICA also had participants from 23 countries, 23 participants, and these were drawn from 12 African countries.
So, I mean, looking at, this training, what were some of the major highlights that you can actually tell us, just from the training perspective? Then we'll go back, to say, how are you implementing this? But just tell us the major highlights about, these two trainings.
In fact, I like the word you use, highlight. that means that you have restricted me, because I could have talked for about 1 hour. So just for the highlight, I think that is, I like how you use the word. So I think basically, we were trained from the pre-cultivation preparation. So now, how does a farmer begin to cultivate, begin to prepare to put a land into cultivation? So first of all, the farmer needs to understand the market. Now you are growing. Which crop is the customers willing to buy? Okay, and how do you grow the crop? And what materials do I have to support the growth of the crop? And what standards, what quality is being demanded by the consumers or the market? So once you have this right, it means that your produce will be willing to buy when it gets to the market. Then we also have to look at the crop establishment. You need to understand the crop. How do I grow the crop? How do I plant it? How do I transplant it? What is the spacing? And how much, and what is the quantity of seeds that needs to be used per a 1 acre or maybe 50 by 50 meters land space. So all these were taught. And then once you grow the crop, how do you manage it? You can't just grow your crop and think that your crop will give you the best yield and the best quality. Put in some effort. So those efforts were also looked into weed management, integrated pest management, and now there's also issue of pest control. And now people also care about their health, and you cannot use any chemicals just to control your crop. And you must think about the safety of the environment and the safety of the health concern of the consumer, so that you get it right using the right chemicals to get the right produce on the market.
Okay.
So there's so many things. So I think these are the highlights that I want to share.
Okay, so after the training, how have you managed to use or transfer the skills into your way of actually working with farmers? And what changes have you observed them?
Personally, I experienced an entire unique of extension delivery, and this is 100% geared towards empowering farmers. Okay, so once farmers are empowered and they know what they want and they know the results that will be obtained from the effort that they are putting in, farmers are willing to accept interventions that we bring on board. So what I do is that I empower them to take the farming as their business and to take hold of it. And once they are motivated and they have the results in mind, farmers are going to do everything that everything that is needed, because they know that once they put in those methods or those suggestions, it's going to give a good result. So personally, I empower my farmers. So I think that empowerment is very key. So that is what I do. And two, professionally, what I do is that I adopt the SHEP approach when conducting training for farmers, because at times as a researcher, you come with new technologies that you need to invite farmers and train them. So the principles that SHEP is based on, I apply those principles. And when I do, I think the results are always great.
Wow. So you manage it.
Sure. And then I also teach with I teach with a private agri college. So after the training, I also did a seminar for the board of directors and the school management to see if there could be the possibility of integrating a component of SHEP approach into their curriculum, because they offer agricultural extension as a course. So I just did a presentation to see, is it a way that you can borrow some of these principles into to integrate it into your curriculum? And I think that they really love it. And next year is when they are going to review their entire curriculum, and they are considering to integrate that into their agricultural extension curriculum.
Okay, wow, thank you so much. Keep us informed about, those developments. Maybe just one last question for me before we take some questions. If there is a participant here who might be interested, to be trained on SHEP, what is the advice that you can actually give them?
For SHEP, we say that no fun, no SHEP. So if you want to have fun, you have to join SHEP, because you see results. The results are very clear. And it's always interesting to see that farmers are getting results. Now, all the things that we do is for two things. One is for quality and quantity. And once we have quality and quantity, then it means that farmers' life are going to improve. And if you can improve the life of the rural farmer, I think that is the best thing you can give. That is the best gift you can offer to the rural farmers. So I would say that everybody should come on board, and let's improve the lives of the rural farmers, because this forms the larger population of Africa and also of Asia.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us, all the way from China, sharing a little bit of your experience. And maybe if there are people who might want to contact you to learn more, then I'm sure you will feel comfortable to actually share that with them. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are progressing with our program, but maybe before we go to the last part, which is very, very exciting, that last part is for us to hear all the information about how the training happens, when people want to be trained, what is it that they need to do. I just want to put somebody on the spot. Jeff, when you were presenting, I understood that you said maybe Ms. Slati could be online. If she is online, I want to put her on the spot as a young person coming into Extension, being trained on SHEP, and being able to advise farmers to the level that they get access to market. I just want to hear her voice and maybe some of the insight if she's around. Is Ms. Slati, give me an indication if you are around, so that we can just give you a short, maybe a minute for you to share your experience. Is she around?
Yes, I am around.
Okay, Ms. Slati, thank you so much. Just maybe introduce yourself again. Sorry to put you on the spot. I couldn't resist when I saw, that, big potato bag and all that. Just introduce yourself and share your experience around, SHEP.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am Tlati Nakolo, and I'm an agricultural economist practitioner as an AAP in Govan-Beki local municipality in South Africa. The experience has been amazing, and through SHEP, we have actually experienced a positive impact both on our farmers and the extension practitioners as well. And as an agricultural economist practitioner, I would say that we always preach about market linkages for farmers, and it's of paramount importance in South Africa, basically, because most farmers don't have market linkages. They don't have access to the markets. But now, as SHEP, it can be used as a measure or as a tool to link farmers to the markets and empower farmers in our country. And I also personally believe that SHEP is a good initiative because it prioritizes farmers to go to markets and make their own stand and have their own identity in the markets. And as youngsters, we know that agriculture is not seen as a profession that most young people go to. And seeing us also being trained and moving towards SHEP being progressing very well, it will also make young people be attracted to agriculture, to pursue agriculture as a profession. So it's basically killing two birds with one stone, where we make SHEP will also make young people to be attracted to agriculture and also make farmers to see agriculture as a form of a business. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know that I put you on the spot, but you really articulated it very well. I'm also learning something here. You say you're an agricultural economist. So ladies and gentlemen, what I'm picking here is that SHEP is not only meant for extensionist practitioners. You can be a researcher, you can be an agricultural economist, anyone within the agriculture space, as long as you are working with farmers and you want to support farmers, SHEP can actually be good for you. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing the last part of the program. That is where we're gonna learn more about how these trainings are actually taking place. Okay, the presentation is there. How are the training taking place? How can actually people sign up? Let us hear. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening. I'm Kensuke. I'm Oshima Kensuke, so Director for SHEP Approach Dissemination in JICA headquarters. So first of all, I thank all of you here to join today's event to understand the SHEP approach. And I would like to show the sincere appreciation for all colleagues of GFRAS and all presentators to share your experience and knowledge for better life of farmers all over the world. So to take this opportunity, I'm pleased to inform all of you that JICA is now launching an online training program for SHEP approach from this year. As Ms. Ingrid introduced, NERC is a very good self-study module for understanding SHEP approach. After you learn SHEP approach through NERC module, your interest on SHEP must grow bigger and bigger, I believe. In such case, I recommend you joining this online program from in this October. So since JICA is implementing agency of Japanese official development assistance only for partner country governments, JICA cannot provide training program on SHEP for other development partners, NGOs, CSOs, and private sectors so far. However, through online program, we don't have such a constraint. Now, SHEP training program is open for everybody. So we are launching 2 English training courses for 2 different time zones. So course A is mainly for Asian countries, which will start from 23rd of October. Course B is for Africa and the Middle East countries, which will start from 30th of October. Next, please. Okay, so this is tentative program of the training course. The contents are almost same as original in-person SHEP training course. So training will take 2 weeks with 1 week interval period. At first week, we will have lectures for understand basic theory of SHEP and etc. After that, we will have the interval period. So participants are required to conduct market survey and interview for farmers in your field. After that, at the second week, for formulating own action plan for implementing SHEP in your field will be main activity. So participants will be able to try SHEP approach at your field soon after the training. So additionally, the program doesn't show, but we are planning to provide online follow-up support for participants who successfully complete the course. Such a support program after the training course is also same as the original one. Next, please. So as the organizer of this training program, JICA requests our partners that nominees for the program need to meet those qualifications. So it is preferable that a pair of mid-level executive officer and 1 field experienced officer from same organization will attend the training program at the same timing. From our experience, such combination of attendees for the program will realize their action plan successfully and disseminate the SHEP approach actively. So next, please. Okay, so this is my last slide. So the general information on the program will be shared to partner organizations such as GFRAS at the beginning of July. The general information has more details of the program, contents, and how to apply the program. So I believe online program is quite effective for disseminating SHEP approach for all over the world. The program can provide the essence of the SHEP approach anywhere you are. So I'm looking forward to see the well-motivated attendees at the training program in October. So thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much. Ingrid, may I ask you to help me check what is on the chat box questions so that we make sure that we have responded to all the questions that our participants have. Over to you.
We have one question and one comment. There is one question here on the chat asking what was JICA's support during SHEP activities except monitoring? So when one country decides to implement and move forward with that, what is the sort of support that JICA provides apart from the monitoring part? And we also have a comment here on the chat, on the Q&A, saying good morning from Ardo Senghor. Just to shed more light on Gambia SHEP, we had just received our second JICA representative, Mrs. Shirai, and similar to our action plan to that of South Africa, shall be complete by the end of next week. And they are going to mainstream SHEP in their extension system, train all extension workers in their 6 regions to facilitate pharma training, as well by extensioners very close to them, collaborate with other projects for funding. So it's exactly this experience that Mr. Naka talked about, looking for opportunities, seeing where you can collaborate, and also help in the advocacy of the SHEP approach in their programs in urban areas, especially in rural areas.
Okay, thank you so much for that, additional comment. Mr. Naka, maybe I'll go back to you to respond, to that other question about what kind of support did JICA have except for monitoring? How is it like in South Africa? Mr. Ngaka?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair, and thanks for that question. Yes, JICA provides technical support, so which means it's not material support to farmers, but is technical support to the ministry to be able to implement the SHEP. So that includes a training of extension practitioners. As I indicated, so extension practitioners initially got an opportunity to learn about SHEP in Japan and also in Kenya and Malawi, which were the front runners in terms of SHEP implementation. Then back in the country, we have a focal person of JICA who work actually based in the Ministry of Agriculture, working with us in terms of SHEP implementation, including monitoring and evaluation of the activities. We also jointly organized the SHEP International Workshop, which is part of the awareness raising a platform that we have on an annual basis. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think we have exhausted all the questions. I don't see any more questions. I think we'll be able to end maybe like, just 15 or 10 minutes earlier. Ingrid, maybe let me just take it back to you so that, we can actually have, some directives and some closing remarks and where can people get what. Over to you.
Thank you very much. So I would just like to encourage once again everyone who has the interest to first get this exposure on this self-directing SHEP course that is available on the GFRAS website, the NELP website. We have put the links here. And then, as we said, there will be these courses in October. We will propose some names based on the people who we see that have completed the course, that show interest, to then have the chance to participate in this course in October. As it was informed, other organizations are also going to receive this information. GFRAS, from the GFRAS network, we hope that we can propose 2 or 3 names of people who can take these longer courses in October. So we really encourage you, if that is something that inspires you, that you see can be beneficial in your communities, to really go ahead and do the course, and we can support with the application process. We can support you with getting more information on what is it that you can find I see that Augustine is raising his hand. Just before I give it to him, who once again, I would like to thank so much for sharing experience, and you really went through this process from the beginning in becoming today such a great ambassador, someone who has seen how the approach works and how it can benefit the community. So we would like to once again thank you for sharing that. I would just like to say that this webinar that we did today is being recorded, and it will be posted on GFRA's website. So if there's someone you would like to recommend it to, we encourage that. We are likely going to repeat, we do this periodically, so we will likely repeat it later in the year with other people. But for now, we would just like to thank you so much for being with us, for having stayed with us, and for opening yourselves up for such an opportunity. Augustine?
Hello, thank you very much. But something just popped up. There has been an issue with contract farming and agreement, because farmers may produce more. Actually, SHEP seeks to give the farmers the opportunity to search on the market, identify which crop is good for them, then they grow. But looking at the discussion popping up today, I am of the view that we should consider, if possible, integrating a session of contract or agreement, maybe into the learning material, maybe in the future. So this is just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You see, it was a question that comes often. Helami, I would then give it back to you just for final closing, and thanks. Once again, from my side, we are really happy with today's webinar. I would like to thank you, Helami, for also moderating with so much energy as always, and you really liven up the session. So we would like to thank you as well for that.
Okay, thank you so much. And also, Augustine, thank you so much for that. Like what we always say, that, you know, we always learn. We have, you know, this material. When we implement the material, new insight comes. Surely we could incorporate, you know, some of the things that are coming from the ground as we better or upgrade our material, and then we can integrate, you know, some of the things that are coming. Thank you so much, and we want to thank, you know, our JICA, you know, partners as well on this. Ingrid, maybe just before we go, I don't know if you want us to launch the Mentimeter again. Is it so that we see, or maybe it's not even necessary?
No, I think people have started dropping out, so yeah. So
okay,
we are just...
no problem. Thank you so much for joining, and really we appreciate. I think we'll come to the end of, you know, the session, and be on the lookout on the GFRAS website, those dates, so that when the call comes, you are the first one to actually get it. But again, go on the website and take, you know, the SHEP module, so that, you know, familiarize yourself with it. When the call comes, you'll be the one, you know, the first one to be actually considered, because you'll already know what the SHEP is all about. Thank you for joining us from different parts of the world. And I'm going to close the session officially. Thank you.